Welcome in, everybody, once again to another episode of Titans Do. We are your hosts. My name is Justin. This is Jake here with me, and we're going to be recapping the Titans 2021 NFL Draft that concluded last weekend. Jake, I don't know. Going into this draft, we kind of talked about it. We had a lot of holes on this roster on both sides of the ball. One of them seemed to get addressed and a lot of attention, and one position of need seemed to get neglected. It felt like through the entire draft until the last couple rounds. It was like, I guess we do still need a wide receiver. Let's just take whoever's left on the board. Yeah. So that's kind of the situation where people were scratching their heads. Should we have gone receiver earlier or not? But we can get into that. But we got a few good players that I'm excited about, Jake.
No doubt.
So what are your general takeaways from the draft? I mean, J-Rob, he did some things we liked. He did some things we didn't like. We had a trade in the middle of the round. It seemed like a J-Rob draft, but of course we're not going to know how well these picks are going to turn out until they get on the field. So what are your initial thoughts here?
Definitely a J-Rob draft. That's the phrase I was going to use for this one. A lot of people go into the draft. A lot of Titans fans have a list of guys they really, really want. I mean, yes, he did take Caleb Farley in the first round, and that is a guy a lot of Titans fans had on their list for that top round pick. But after that, he kind of just went and did his own thing like he usually does, selects a lot of players where the first thing you think is, I have no idea who that guy is. Yeah, and then obviously it kind of starts, information pours in and whatnot. But, I feel good about this draft, Justin. Yes, the wide receiver room is a little sparse still. I mean, they have so many bodies, but not a lot of names, Obviously the Julio Jones trade rumors have been bubbling, swirling. Wouldn't that be nice? But we'll see, man. We'll see how it shapes up. I don't know how you want to do this. If we just want to run through the draft picks kind of as they were selected, kind of just give a little note about them and kind of see what we see for them.
Yeah, that works. We had 8 draft picks. First one coming 22nd overall. J-Rob stays where he is. We didn't even know if J-Rob would have traded out of that pick. But a lot of good players obviously still on the board at 22. So we didn't know exactly where he was going to go, but he indeed went with Caleb Farley. Sat out, as everyone knows, last year due to COVID, and is coming off a couple back surgeries that a lot of people just are really concerned about, on social media, Titan subreddit or Twitter, whatever website that you use. People are still it's a high risk. It's one of those high risk, high reward things, just like Jeffrey Simmons was. He was coming off an ACL tear, but as people say, that is not as big of a deal to come back from that as it used to be. Back surgeries, though, are no joke. So there is concern with Caleb Farley. Is he able to bounce back from there? But I don't know if you've watched any interviews of him, because I have, and that dude is serious, and he is he's not taking any nonsense. He made me laugh a few times during his press conference with the local media. I hope it becomes a meme, but he rebukes in the name of Jesus the idea that he's not going to be ready for training camp on day one. That's what he said, and I love it. I love the attitude. Great quote, and he is very confident that he's not going to be hampered at all with his back surgery. So if we just kind of take that confidence, this is probably going to be a huge home run value to the top pick, because people were saying he might be the best cornerback in the draft. He's just, with the injury concern and then being off the football field for an entire season. That's the only drawbacks and what caused him to fall to us. So, if he can overcome those things, then it looks like we got another Jeffrey Simmons type player potentially at the cornerback position. And that's what we desperately needed more than anything on this roster last year. So I like it. I like it. I think it was a good risk to take. It's worked out in the past. So at 22, it's kind of what do we do here with the 22 pick? It's not a guaranteed player, but you kind of want to look for those players like him that have fallen for one reason or another, but the talent is there if he can turn it around on the field. So I don't know. End rant. What are your thoughts here on Farley?
I really like the pick. You keep taking my little talking points, but I was going to say this is a Jeffrey Simmons.
You can go first next time.
An injury kind of knocked him down the board. He kind of fell to the Titans a little bit. Yes, thinking back to Jeffrey Simmons, even a lot of analysts and things said, he might be a top 5 pick, as, Caleb Farley might have been a top 5 pick if it weren't for, health issues and other things. So obviously one of the better corners in the draft. Love to see that. He's kind of a larger physical corner. Love to see that. I think when John Robinson called him on the phone, the first thing he said was, when can I get the playbook? And that is, just that alone. I don't think Isaiah Wilson ever asked for a playbook as far as first round draft picks go. So, I already off to a good start, at least PR wise with Titans fans, more so than Isaiah Wilson. So yeah, I love this pick. If he, rebukes in the name of Jesus that he's going to be ready, I take that at face value and I believe him, so hopefully, yes, he can come in and can contribute right away. I love this pick. I think he's a good guy. No real complaints for me there. I mean, yes, the back surgeries are something of concern. A lot of people are harping on that. But, if he can come in, stay healthy, like you said, great value pick at 22, especially when, what do analysts know? But especially when, he's highly ranked as one of the better cornerbacks, in the class.
Watch out, Tanny. He can take your spot too.
Yeah. If his back heels is up nice, he might be able to have a good throwing motion. Going into the second round, Justin, there was a lot of talk, a lot of murmurs. Obviously, Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss was still on the board after, the first night of the draft going into round 2. Yeah. Everybody wanted John Robinson to trade up. Go get him. What does he do? No, he just stays and he takes Dillon Radunz, offensive tackle, North Dakota State. So yes, this looking at this, another Isaiah Wilson mentioned. Yeah, exactly. Didn't really see it coming, but this is, a Dennis Kelly replacement pick, or, a makeup pick for Isaiah Wilson. He's going to come in and compete against, Ty Sambrailo, Kendall Lamb from free agency for that right tackle position. He sat, I think they only played one game at North Dakota State due to COVID. But, so he had kind of the year off, comes in, makes a splash at the Senior Bowl. And I saw that he trained with NFL legend, San Francisco 49ers offensive lineman Joe Staley. So again, another big football guy, seems real serious, real into it. So hopefully another guy who can come in and kind of compete for a starting job day one.
He knows about busting with the boys. I think he tweeted something like that or something like that. He's aware of it. I think on the call, J-Rob was like, let's just make sure you stay off that bus with Taylor and the boys and everything, which is funny. So I think he's going to fit in right in with that locker room and that offensive line group. I feel, I'm starting to feel really good about this offensive line now. If Dillon Radunz can come in and win that right tackle job, Kendall Lamb is also there in the mix that we signed in the offseason. So, and I did like Ty Sambrailo last year before he also got hurt and out for the season. I thought he did some good things. I didn't think the offense really missed a beat when he came in. So having Radunz and Kendall Lamb, Ty Sambrailo for depth. I mean, we have some pretty good depth, and you feel pretty good about the offensive line there. If Radunz can come in and be the second round pick that we're picking him to be, hopefully the right tackle of the future, settling in right next to Nate Davis, a third round pick out of Charlotte, who at the time we were like, who and why? And it seems like a risk. And that pick has turned out beautifully so far. So hopefully, Dillon Radunz can be a kind of an overlooked small school offensive lineman here that can come in and do some good things in the NFL for the Titans. I think he was still graded as like a top 5 right tackle, or maybe it was like a top 5 or 6 overall tackle. So I think people knew about him from, your draft nerds, your draft pundits there. But, going offense, again, with the wide receiver thing, I was kind of still waiting for a wide receiver name to be called. I was starting to gain a lot of momentum for obviously Elijah Moore, but I went back and saw Rondale Moore from what was it, Notre Dame, maybe? Oh, Purdue, that's right. And I was thinking, if he drops to us, after watching a few highlight reels of him, I was like, that's a player that has a spot on this offense. We have room for him here. We would definitely have use for him. But what do you know? We go right tackle. So You know, it's funny. It's speaking of, I did want to say this, Elijah Moore, how everyone was like, oh, he's buddies with AJ Brown. How great would it be if those two guys, both Ole Miss guys and, you know, roommates or whatever they were, or I think they lived here. They lived together in some capacity. That for them to be teamed up and have a great duo here. And then he does get teamed up with not AJ Brown, but Corey Davis. He's the receiver that ends up teaming up with Elijah Moore up in New York. So I thought that was interesting. That'll be a fascinating team to watch. You know, after their draft picks, adding Corey Davis. But anyway, what is this? Jets tube?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I just thought it was funny. Elijah
Gang
Moore
green
to play with Corey Davis.
Yeah,
gang green tube. But yeah, I kind of like it. You know, just on paper, I like this Radunz pick, and hopefully he can come in and completely solidify and get this offensive line totally shored up for another crack at 2,000 yards, maybe 3,000 yards for Derrick Henry.
Who knows? That extra game could bump him from 2 to 3. You never really know. You know, Derrick Henry needed an absurd amount of yards against Houston week 17 last year, and he went out and did it. So, you know, if he's short maybe 1,000 going into that 17th game, you know, he might be able to do it.
I have great confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, these first two picks, I was going to say, I'll set you up here. These first two picks, initially, a lot of people are thinking, you know, offense, wide receiver, maybe reach for a tight end. I don't know about this early, but, you know, after the dust settles for a few minutes, you kind of think, you know, I'm on board. I think John Robinson has done some good things with these first two picks, and they have home run hit potential. But now for this third pick, I think had the most people scratching their heads, Jake. So what can you tell us about this?
So you mentioned it earlier, there was a little bit of trading in the mid rounds with the Green Bay Packers. The Titans, I believe, traded down to pick number 92, where John Robinson did his John Robinson thing, going just complete, you know, he zigs when everybody wanted to zag, picking Monty Rice, linebacker out of Georgia. And the problem a lot of people had with this pick, including myself, is that there are holes in other spots of this roster, Justin. There are so many holes in other spots that you can fill quicker than a linebacker. But, you know. So
this is your, just to clarify, he is more of your inside linebacker, the Rashaan Evans, Jayon Brown, Devin Long Jr. molds, not like your outside rusher types. This guy's more of like your Rashaan Evans type, right?
Yes, and you know, it made more sense after the fact. The news came out that the Titans declined Rashaan Evans' fifth-year option, so maybe this is like their project guy to fill that spot. However, I mean, this is going to be a theme over the next couple of picks, and seemingly a theme of Titans drafts these days. There's a red flag surrounding this guy. He was on his third agent prior to being drafted. So draft night, he is on his third agent already. Take that as you will. Take it with a grain of salt. Who knows what the situation is, but a lot of guys aren't on their third agent the night of the draft. So we'll see how that works out, but he seems like, you know, he could be a serviceable guy, come in, provide depth at the inside linebacker position.
The agent thing could be a red flag, Jake, but I've got a green flag for you. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 green flags. Monty Rice apparently has grown up as a Titans fan, because I don't know if you saw on Twitter, there are pictures posted of him as a wee young lad repping McNair, repping Vince Young, all these jerseys, throwing a football in the parking lot. This is my guy. I don't even care if he sucks at football.
Yeah, he's one of us. You know, he's tailgating, throwing the ball around in Nissan Stadium parking lot. Hopefully, he will be playing at an elite level inside Nissan Stadium. So
you have a really good view of the Titans fans, of the Titans games now on the sideline or on the field. So he improved his seating position by getting drafted.
All right. Moving right along, another third-round pick for the Titans here at number 100, right on the dot. Elijah Molden, who's kind of a cornerback safety hybrid out of Washington. This is a pick I really, really love, Justin. A lot of Titans fans calling him Cortland Finnegan 2.0. Hopefully he can fist fight a little better than Cortland Finnegan, but I digress. He's kind of that scrappy, unafraid, maybe undersized guy, but man, he makes up for it with a lot of heart, plays hard, 4-year contributor with the Washington Huskies. Love to see a kind of a 4-year guy. So hopefully, again, another depth pick for the secondary, as many corners, as many slot corners, as many safety hybrids as we can get bring them in to help the secondary because, man, we were thin. So I do like seeing John Robinson double dip at the cornerback position in the first 3 rounds. I think that's more of a need than wide receiver. I don't know if they're high on guys like Nick Westbrook and things like that. But I love this pick. I love hearing like the scrappiness, the heart, and kind of an unafraid football player.
Yeah, you said it best. That's exactly what I saw whenever I went back and watched highlights of and watched some interviews of it. Another guy super excited, to be a Titan. I love the attitude of a lot of these draft picks. Farley, Dillon Radunz seemed like a down-to-earth, hard-working, ready to come in and make a difference type of guy. Monty Rice, he's a Titans fan, so that tells you everything you need to know about his character. And Elijah Moore. And Elijah Moore, too, coming in ready to get to work day one. Did you see his tweet about, can Titans, give me an edit or like crop a jersey onto me? And someone gave him like a really purposefully bad, like 27 jersey with like his oversized head on it. Yeah. And then he retweeted it and was like, oh yeah, ready to tighten up now or something. Yeah. So he's funny. There's a lot of good character to these guys, which is a big point because of the Isaiah Wilson situation last year, where he didn't seem like he wanted to be here from the get-go, and he didn't. But yeah, I'm really liking this pick. A guy that I'm pretty sure was mocked around the late second round, around that area, or maybe even early second round. So we got extreme value in this pick, having him fall all the way to 100. I don't know what the reasons were. I think he was definitely supposed to be, or mocked to be drafted a lot higher than where he was. There can't be any like character red flags from what I can tell. I don't know if there's any injuries or maybe it's just he's kind of undersized, that kind of an issue. But like you said, I've seen the Cortland Finnegan comparisons. I've seen some Tyrann Mathieu comparisons. So if he can come in and do what Tyrann Mathieu does, just in terms of playing the slot or sometimes playing back in safety, being multiple like that, as coaches speak, then yeah, this is going to be a great pick, and I think he's going to see a lot of action early. I'm going to look for him to be on special teams a ton early on until he gets his footing, and then it's like, okay, maybe we should just save him for the defense because this guy can play. Don't want to have him get hurt or anything. But I wrote Elijah Moore on my paper. It's Elijah Molden.
Elijah Molden. Right? I hope I
yes. Have I been calling him Moore? My bad.
I believe I caught you once, but not a big deal.
I'm learning. I'm still learning the names. It's okay.
Our subscriber count is going down, Justin.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, they care more about the pronunciation and getting the names right than anything. That's the most important thing. Anyway, so again, yeah, I'm excited. There's definitely room in the cornerback room for him now. But at this point, yeah, that's the last. We got a safety at the very last pick we can talk about. But as far as the cornerback room goes, I'm pretty sure this is what it's going to be. You got Janoris Jenkins, you got Caleb Farley coming in, Elijah Moore. Still have Christian Fulton, who we did not get to see a lot of. God, I did it again. I cannot wait. We need to move on, or I'm going to do it again from this pick. But I'm feeling our cornerback room is very young, aside from Janoris Jenkins, but a lot of value has been placed on the other 3 guys: Farley, Molden, and Christian Fulton, our second rounder last year. So, I feel better about the defensive backs, even though we lost Malcolm Butler. I feel better about the cornerbacks, at least, going into this season than what we got last year. What do you think, Jake?
For sure. No, I love this. Again, a guy who's hungry, a guy who comes in, wants to play football. You sometimes think that shouldn't be a prerequisite for an NFL draftee if they want to play football. But, after last year, we're going to have to really check up on these guys. Moving along to round number 4. This is a pick, for some reason, I just get a good feeling about. He seems like a guy who can come in, contribute, definitely compete for a roster spot for a 4th rounder. John Robinson finally gives Titans fans what they want, not Elijah Moore, but Dez Fitzpatrick, a wide receiver out of Louisville. He's kind of a bigger guy. He's 6'2", another 4-year player like Elijah Molden. Definitely should come in, compete for a roster spot, and add a little bit of depth to that wide receiving room, because it's A.J. Brown and then Josh Reynolds and a bunch of guys. Anybody outside of Titans fandom don't know who they are. So hopefully this guy can come in, provide some special teams help, kind of really earn that roster spot. I like his size. I think there's a lot of upside to him. He had a lot of highlights come across the Twitter timeline there. So obviously easy to get excited about that guy. Yeah. We know all of these guys aren't going to work out perfectly, but this is one that if, the value is there, then absolutely. That's great.
And especially because we did trade up to grab him at pick 109 in the 4th round, which was just 9 picks after Molden. So we moved up pretty significantly there. Mm-hmm. I forget what were the exact picks that we traded away, but there's something that they really like in Dez Fitzpatrick. I don't know if, as far as receivers goes at the time, if that's who Titans fans were thinking, we could get Fitzpatrick here, or if there's a number of receivers ahead of him in their own on their own mock drafts or whatever. So it kind of, it sort of came out of nowhere a little bit. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot once we get into these especially the mid rounds to late rounds. All the players available, I don't know who's good or who people are at all. But, if you trade up for him, there's got to be something about him that they really like. And it kind of tells me he's definitely going to make the roster at least. I mean, 4th round picks have a pretty good hit rate of making the roster. I'd say that's pretty rare, unless you're the next our next 4th round pick who's already committed a crime.
Yeah.
But finishing up on Dez Fitzpatrick, and he's kind of taller. I keep waiting for us to bring in like the smaller mold slot receiver-ish breed, but we keep going these big receivers: AJ Brown, Josh Reynolds, tall and lanky, but he's not small at all. Now Dez Fitzpatrick is another kind of size guy who is pretty good with catching and tracking the deep ball. So just adding another one of those same builds, but are we going to get that shifty Adam Humphries that we had last year, receiver? Maybe that's what Cam Batson's going to be. Maybe that's our plan for that position on the offense. So either way, adding another body, hopefully a contributor this year in Dez Fitzpatrick. So let's do it. That's all I got to say about him.
Definitely. All good stuff there. Yeah. Moving on to some lesser good stuff. I would call it bad stuff.
Not good.
Another 4th round pick at number 135, Rashad Weaver, who's kind of an edge defensive end out of Pittsburgh. Obviously, the big thing here is charged with assault 1 day before the Titans picked him. There's a lot of teams that had Weaver on their board. I think Paul Kuharski reported that 3 teams knew about the incident going into the day that the Titans picked him, and 2 other teams did not. Obviously, the Titans being one of those teams who did not know about this assault charge. So it begs the question: what is the scouting department doing? What is John Robinson doing to vet these guys? I mean, after you're embarrassed on a league-wide scale last year with the Isaiah Wilson pick, it seemed like all eyes were on the Titans to have a successful draft, not have a repeat of Isaiah Wilson. And I don't think this is going to be a repeat of Isaiah Wilson necessarily, but definitely not good to catch an assault charge 1 day before you get drafted into the NFL. And obviously John Robinson doesn't know. This is, I keep saying it over and over again, this is kind of a depth guy. I feel like the Titans have their edge rushers and defensive line kind of cemented. And again, it's a late 4th round pick. How much stock are you really putting into Rashad Weaver? But obviously the headlines will kind of paint a poor picture of the Titans.
Yeah. I was wondering, we're probably going to end up talking more about this assault charge more than what he potentially could bring to the football team. And as far as the assault charge goes, yes, he should have known. Didn't it just happen though? I'm wondering how some of these teams even knew about the charge, because wasn't it a day before, a few days before was the actual incident, and then she filed charges a week later, or was it? I don't know the story.
Yeah, I want to say it was early in the month, filed later. It's a whole ongoing thing.
So so then I was thinking, of course J-Rob didn't know. Things don't leak or travel or news spreads that fast, especially on a guy who may not be highlighted on your radar. But if he does drop to us, then we should go for him. But then if other teams knew about it, then that's another interesting thing to take into account. Okay, well, if they had their intelligence scouting committee, figure out these things, then maybe that was something that the Titans aren't doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of disheartening. We'll see. We've got to wait for the facts still to come out about what this incident. Maybe there are facts that I'm not aware of, that he's definitely guilty and he's should be punished or whatever. Remember a few weeks ago when Aaron Donald beat up like some dudes or whatever, and that ended up to be a bogus story. Mm-hmm. Aaron Donald is totally out of the weeds in that situation. So it could be something like this. So let's just wait for the facts to come out. Is he going to play this year? Is he going to get suspended? How serious is this? We'll see. But in terms of a football analysis, I like the edge rush, depth to address that still. Like, you're still counting on Bud Dupree, Harold Landry to be your guy screaming off the edge. But who else do we have? Do we still have like Roberson? Derek Roberson, I guess, is going to be competing for a spot. But it's a good another body to have there to, hopefully help within the rotation if he's able to translate to the NFL. And he's another guy that seems like he dropped a lot. The last thing about him, I think he tweeted himself, he was like, "Oh, WTF, what's going on? I was not expecting to fall this far into the fourth round. I thought he expected to go earlier." Maybe he has a bad agent that told him he was going to be a second round talent. And maybe he had Dez Fitzpatrick's agent. And so that's why Dez Fitzpatrick got rid of him. I don't know. I'm wildly speculating here, but
yes,
there could be some potential value in this pick. So hopefully he's good and there's no character issues there. And it was just something that got blown out of proportion. But, if not, then I don't know, kick him off the team. We don't have room for women beaters or whatever. Violence.
Damn straight.
We only want our
only Titans fans
on the field.
Yes, and violence on the field. Yeah, we don't condone violence off the field.
Correct. Yes.
Getting into these. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say let's get into these last two picks. I don't know. I'd call them like our special teams picks because they're probably going to have to make the team that way. First one at pick 205. Titans did not have a fifth round draft pick. That was part of the trade, I assume, for Dez Fitzpatrick. Racy McMath. Figure that one out.
Yeah.
McMath. And Racy, so he's fast. I did see where he was named Racy because his mom named him that because when she was pregnant with him, he would always be kicking around and moving around constantly, nonstop. He was always racing around. So there you go. He ran
great
right
little
out of the
fact
room
tidbit there.
Love it. Yeah, there's that great story. Only at Titans 2 can you get this deep analysis of pick 205 for the team. Out of LSU. And I liked what you said in your notes. This is a guy that was pretty buried on the depth chart. Lots of good receivers that are coming out of LSU. But he contributed on special teams, and he never really got his full opportunity as a receiver. So here you go. Here you go, Racy. We're giving it to you, it looks like. So let's see what he can do.
For sure. And then moving along to the other sixth round pick we had, 215, Brady Breeze, safety out of Oregon. Again, special teamer, gonna have to make the roster for us to talk about him a little more. But, he's got quite the, I just gonna say the white football player name, he's Brady Breeze.
We're going there, huh?
Yeah. He's got the quintessential TV, he's the captain, but it sounds more of like a quarterback name than anything.
Yeah, like a high school jockey quarterback.
Exactly.
Like, here comes Brady Breeze down the hallway. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But that's literally my only analysis on him as of our notes taken earlier. Is just he's got a name of that high school jock in the ABC Family sitcom, that kind of thing. Yeah. So hopefully we wish
make
the
a name
best
for himself on that.
Yeah, make a name. Wow, you're on it today. Make a name.
Unintentional, but I don't know. Yeah,
take credit.
Amazing. I'll take the credit. I do want to say he did make a name for himself at Oregon. Not his real name, but he made a name for himself on special teams. I forgot who was talking about this. It might have been Paul Kaharski. That he had an astonishingly high amount of special teams tackles throughout his career at Oregon, and he played special teams at each level or each class. freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. He played I think he said every game he was available for, he played every special team snap. So
wow,
this could be our specialist for special teams. If he's very familiar with coverage and all the things that go into that. So sure, that's what you do with your very last pick in the draft.
Yes.
Shore up some special teams and. Maybe he might just find himself some safety snaps if he continues to improve. So there you go. There's our draft class.
2021 Titans draft class.
Yeah. Any last things you want to say about Brady Breeze? But if not, collectively, a lot of defense. And I'm very excited about these first 4 picks, especially Monty Rice. We'll kind of see. I don't know how much playing time he could actually afford. With the guys ahead of him. So I don't know. You kind of hope that your a 3rd round pick is going to see some pretty significant playing time, but who knows? We'll see. He could be a guy for the long-term future, but
especially I see it as an investment pick. Obviously we mentioned Rashaan Evans not getting his 5th-year option. It's kind of a prove it year for him. If he goes, this is kind of your backup investment plan.
Yeah. So it could be all good. So the cornerbacks, then Dillon Radunz said right tackle. High hopes that he can pan out to be because that's pretty. I don't think we would have been terrible with Ty Sambrailo or Kendall Lamb. Having that right tackle starting spot because the number 53 overall pick is super valuable to use on a right tackle who was maybe going to compete, or is he definitely going to be that guy coming into camp? I mean, everyone has to earn their spot, but still, hopefully he makes it worth using that pick on, because I think he was picked sooner than we picked AJ Brown when we got him. Wasn't he or AJ Brown was maybe 40s, late 40s, or in the 50s overall? Something
early
like that,
second,
early second. Okay. I'm pretty excited. There's still some things we got to address this offseason. Tight end, wide receiver, slot wide receiver, Julio Jones, where you at? So besides tight end and receiver, I'm pretty good about the roster.
Yeah.
I'm liking this roster. Let's run it back. AFC South champs back to back. Let's do it again, Jake. Come on.
Would love to see it. Yeah. Obviously there's some great picks that we love about this draft. There's some questionable picks that we don't love about this draft. There's obviously the whole Rashad Weaver situation. So classic Titans draft, really, frankly, when it comes down to it. But yes, filled the holes, at least in the secondary, really revamped this defense after we saw, John Robinson slash and burn everybody out of the defense in this offseason already. Yes, there's some concerns around pass catchers, tight ends. What are we going to do with tight end? It's going to be a committee with Swaim and Ferkser and, whoever else we can bring in to fill. Speaking of Ferkser, I am A-okay with him being the top receiving target, and that is because Justin so graciously sent me this T-shirt that I got in the mail the other day. Okay, Titans football, all well and good. Then you flip it around, and it is our Harvard man, Anthony Ferkser. First down. Got the big 86 right there. Love it. And hopefully he can produce so I can wear this shirt proudly and not in shame. So, Justin, I just wanted to give a public shout out and a thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And I know we've talked off camera, and I've said, Jake, thank you for helping continue the channel and being so gracious into coming in and filling in for Caleb. Because this channel would probably be totally dead without you. So just a small token of gratitude, and we're going to keep this thing rolling. Just talking about, what we love most in life, more than family, friends, God, country, faith, family, and football is number one.
Yes, always. Titans football, number one, specifically.
That's a terrible thing to say, but just throwing words out there.
I'm pretty sure Vince Lombardi said something like that. Football comes first, and then God, and then your family. It's something like that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Vince Lombardi. Blame him if you don't like it. So, So
that about does it on my end, Justin.
Yeah, we'll see what else the Titans do to address this roster in the offseason. I don't think we're done making moves. A lot of people are suspecting that John Robinson's not done signing folks. So we'll see what we have in store. But until then, we're going to be watching. We're going to keep our eyes peeled on the news. And if something crazy happens, we'll make a video about it and let y'all, hear our thoughts and all that good stuff.
Stay tuned for the emergency Julio Jones press conference. I'm just trying to speak it into existence. So, obviously we'll have to hop on here and talk about the Julio AJ Brown connection once he comes to Nashville. I'm just trying to put it out there and make it happen. Doing what I can.
It'll happen. Yes. Sending out the good vibes, and they will return in kind. So, so we'll see. Yeah. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this video. Let us know what you guys thought about the draft. Hit and miss. Hit miss. It's all hit and miss. That's what John Robinson is. That's our GM. Love him or hate him. So thank you guys for watching. For me, Justin, and Jake, you guys tighten up, and we'll see y'all down the road.
Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Don't forget to tighten up. I don't think I said all that jazz in the last outro. Something I forgot. It's a little rusty. Off season. We'll have training.
That was disappointing.
Back into it. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go back and downvote that video because thank you for bringing that to my attention. We need more jazz in our videos.
All jazz.
All right.
All jazz all the time.